So a few things right off the bat. As you can tell audibly, my voice is pretty much gone. I want to try to record a video, so I'm going to force my way through this one. Secondly, well aware this is an anime, but I've been a big fan of Helluva Boss and Hazbin Hotel, and when I saw this Iceberg chart go up on Reddit, I figured since I'm doing the anime Iceberg chart series already, I think it would be a good stepping off point to do more content that I'm interested in, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Also, shout out to PVZBoy300 on Reddit for making the Iceberg. For those of you who don't know, Helluva Boss and Hazbin Hotel are series created by Vivian Medrano or VivzyPop here on YouTube. Hazbin Hotel is a series that follows the daughter of Lucifer as she tries to rehabilitate sinners as hell has become too crowded. And the spin-off series Helluva Boss follows a group of assassins that take out targets in the living world. I'm going to do my best to explain these. At the time of me writing the script, there was no explanation posted, so these are all self-researched pretty much. All that aside though, we're going to get right into it, but thank you guys for watching, and again, I apologize about the voice. Now, the first entry on Tier 1 is Vivian Medrano, also known as VivzyPop. Now, VivzyPop has been active for some time on YouTube, releasing shorts such as Timber and Die Young, which have amassed millions of views well before Hazbin Hotel. Now, VivzyPop has had her run-in with controversy, both with the show and outside of the show, but we'll get into that a little later on in the Iceberg. Addict is a music video released for an original song performed by the characters Cherry Bomb and Angel Dust from Hazbin Hotel. This was released back in July of 2020 and details Angel's backstory in hell. Brendan Rogers is next on the list, who's a rather popular YouTuber himself. Now, the reason he's on this list is because Vivian approached him about Helluva Boss, and he not only became a writer of the show, but voices one of the main characters, Blitz. Now, the weird ships entry are just fans being fans pretty much. Now, if you watch any show and two characters share a frame together, chances are fans are going to want to ship them together. Now, for example, fans not only ship, but produce fan art for couples like Charlie and Vox, or Vaggie and Valentino, characters who haven't even been seen on screen together. Next up is merch, and to say that Hazbin and Helluva Boss have a lot of merch is a bit of an understatement. VivzyPop seems to upload a lot of videos detailing sales or new merch drops. As far as I can tell, there's nothing really weird about the merch. It's mostly just shirts, plushies, and pins. There just happens to be a lot of it. The Honeycast is a series of live streams done by the Hazbin Hotel voice acting cast, hosted by Ashley Nichols. Now, a running gag on these live streams is that the characters will often flirt with Ashley in character. Now, as of the time of recording, the live streams are on hiatus, but they are said to return. A24 is a media company that picked up Hazbin Hotel, which is a big deal because it seems that Hazbin Hotel is going to be a much larger project than Helluva Boss. Helluva Boss, of course, has seen all of its releases thus far on YouTube. A24 is a relatively new media company, having been founded in 2012. Now, they're the production company behind several successful movies, such as Uncut Gems, Hereditary, and Midsommar. They've even done some work with John Mulaney and Eric Andre. As of the recording of this video, A24 hasn't given a release date to Hazbin Hotel. Holidays is an animated short by VivzyPop that was released back in 2019. The story follows Jangles, a Halloween spirit who finds himself bored with the same routine each and every year. That is until he meets Jingles, an energetic Christmas spirit, and the two immediately take a liking to each other, as well as their own respective holidays. Ashley Nichols, as mentioned earlier, hosts the Honeycast alongside her co-host and boyfriend Michael Kovac, who's the voice of Angel Dust. Ashley herself is an animator who works behind the scenes on Hazbin Hotel as a cleanup artist. None of the main characters are straight is an almost correct statement. Now, of the main characters of the show, the confirmed sexualities of the main characters are as followed. Charlie is bisexual, Vaggie is a lesbian, Angel Dust is gay, Husker is pansexual, Alistair is asexual, and the lone exception to the rule is Nifty, who is straight. This is evident as shown as her introduction, as her being disappointed at the lack of men at the hotel. Now we're moving on to Tier 2, and the first entry on Tier 2 is Film Theory. Now, the YouTube channel, The Film Theorists, released a 20-minute video breaking down if Charlie's idea to redeem souls is even possible. They break down everything from how many souls would need to be saved, as well as the big question, is it all possible? I don't want to ruin the video, so I'll leave a link in the description below for you guys to check out if you're interested. Edward Bosco is best known in the series for his voice work as Alistair. Edward Bosco's been an actor for well over a decade, but it's mostly in uncredited roles. Also, according to his wiki page, he has an extreme dislike of Canada, so do with that as you will. Travis is the name of the character that Angel Dust has a little hookup session with before the events of the pilot. He's seen as he drops off Angel Dust just before his battle with Sanchez. He can be seen in the background in Addict as well as Helluva Boss, making him one of the few characters to appear in both shows. Official Comics refers to the official comics that exist on the Hazbin Hotel website, going a little deeper into the characters and the setting of Hell itself. A few examples of these include Angel Dust wondering if redemption is even possible, as well as a day in the life of Alistair. Keep this one in mind for later. Zoophobia was a web series comic created by Vivzipop back in 2012. Now this follows an interspecies sanctuary and the main character Cameron, who's sent there by accident, using the opportunity to help cure their zoophobia. Now this garnered quite a bit of attention and a cult following on Tumblr back then, but has been on hiatus for quite a few years now. Now I'm assuming this was on the list because some of the characters that appeared in Zoophobia were taken out of the story and used in Hazbin Hotel. A few examples include Angel Dust, Alistair, Vaggie, Husk, basically the entire main cast. Smear frames in animation are used as a single quick blur to help make scenes look a lot smoother when played in real time. Hazbin Hotel and Helluva Boss are quite notorious for using these, as a lot of characters are always in motion, meaning that if you pause at any time in either show, there's a good chance that you're going to find one of these smear frames. Official dubs is just that official dubs have been released of the Hazbin Hotel pilot on Vivzipop's channel. They've been released in both French and Japanese, meaning that Hazbin Hotel is officially an anime. There are, of course, numerous amounts of fan dubs in every language from German to Spanish, but the French and Japanese ones are the only official dubs so far. Alistair's Game is a song written by the Living Tombstone, who I'm relatively sure has created a song for just about every fandom out there. The song speaks about Alistair's way to sweet-talking people, only to manipulate them in the end. And for the last entry on Tier 2, we have Easter eggs. As you might expect, this references things in the background of Helluva Boss and Hazbin Hotel that you might not have noticed the first time unless you had a keen eye. Some of the most popular Easter eggs include Blitz and Moxie being able to be seen in the pilot of Hazbin Hotel, as well as Travis popping up in the background of Helluva Boss. Moving on to Tier 3, we have Discord roleplay servers. People roleplay on Discord. People roleplay Hazbin Hotel. I'll even throw in a freebie. People roleplay Hazbin on YouTube and Twitter. Look it up if you want to go blind. Ranks of Power theory is the theorized division of power within Hell. In this theory, there are 7 layers, with Satan, of course, being the first and the strongest. Now, he's entrapped in the core of Hell and is unable to rule directly. This is where the Magni family comes into play, as Lilith and Lucifer, Charlie's parents, are Satan's left and right hand man/woman. Third on the tier list would be the princes and the princesses, such as Charlie and Stolas. Following them are the nobles, or people who are said to marry for money and power. Stolas' wife Stella is a prime example of that. Up next come the overlords, or Hell's version of criminal kingpins who fight each other for power. Overlords are about as powerful as an Earthborn can become, and speaking of which, the penultimate level are Earthborn sinners. These are the ordinary people like you and me who are sent to Hell for the wrongdoings they did when they were alive, and sent to Hell to repent for their sins. And finally, the lowest level of power are Imps and Hellhounds. They're at the bottom of the heap in Hell society, to the point where it's seen as impressive that Blitz can even own his own business. One important thing to remember about this theory is that just because 2 classes are right next to each other doesn't mean they're really on equal footing. We saw Alistair's power on display at the end of the pilot, and even though he seemed so immensely powerful, the nobles above him are seemingly content with him and other overlords duking it out with each other because they're not seen as threats. The Triple V's refer to 3 of Hell's most powerful overlords. Now the Triple V's are Vox, Valentino, and Velvet. Valentino has control over Hell's adult entertainment industry, Vox has control over the media, and Velvet has control over social media. Now the 3 of them can be seen in the opening of the pilot, and some of the awful things Valentino's done to Angel Dust can be seen in the music video Addict. Pk Russell is a YouTuber who made a nearly 30-minute long video detailing why he thought Hazbin Hotel was bad. Now, judging from some of the comments I've seen, it seems to be very negative, though I didn't sit through the video myself. I've noticed posts both agreeing with him and some of the things he said, and some posts disagreeing with him. I myself thought the pilot was great, of course, but it's not free of criticism, but for a private project, I thought it was pretty great. People have opinions, and this one was just pretty controversial. Don't go and attack this guy if you really like the show. Just move on like we're gonna do. Helluva Boss having popular voice actors is just a fact. Now, Hazbin Hotel had some smaller voice actors. Helluva Boss had some much bigger names involved. We mentioned Brandon Rogers before, but there's also the voice of Moxie, voiced by Richard Horvitz, who provided the voice of Zim from Invader Zim, as well as Billy from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. Luna's voice actress, Erica Lindbrecht, provided the voice for Futaba Sakura from Persona 5 and Mordred from Fate. And perhaps the most well-known voice actor was Norman Reedus, who provided the voice for Striker. r/Hazbin Brothel is a subreddit dedicated to sharing adult work for Hazbin Hotel and Helluva Boss. No, I won't expand further. Blitz Loves Horses is just something you might have missed if you weren't paying too close attention in Helluva Boss. Throughout the events of Helluva Boss, he either draws, mentions, or fawns over horses more than you might have expected. Gooseworks is simply a music producer who helped produce the original score for Hazbin Hotel. Now, RandomGameCritic, similar to Pk Russell, made a video critiquing Hazbin Hotel. He does his in a style of a CinemaSins with an everything wrong with Hazbin Hotel. RandomGameCritic even opens up by saying he likes the show, and it goes back to what I said earlier, that while I think the show's great for an independent project, that doesn't absolve it of criticism. We're now on to tier 4 of the Iceberg, which starts out with Addict having more views than the pilot. This too is just something that's fact. The pilot has more than 60 million views, while Addict has over 100 million views. This is likely because people are more willing to listen to a song over and over again, rather than they are to watch a single episode over and over again. Kids in the comments section is just that. The shows Hazbin Hotel and Helluva Boss are designed for adults, but kids are of course gonna just get in there anyway, because it's not like YouTube has some sort of fail-safe way of making sure that kids don't watch adult content on YouTube. Alistair as a cannibal is a theory that can be proved if you read the comic mentioned earlier. In the comic, Alistair greets a group of women outside of a cannibal cafe who are all feasting on a corpse, and they all smile and wave at him as if he's a regular. This could be a subtle implication that Alistair, to some degree, practices cannibalism. Character heights is a reference to the canonical heights of each character. It can also be a reference to how wildly the character's heights can seem to range. For example, Nifty is about 3 feet tall, while Angel Dust is about 8 feet tall. Charlie's height seems to be the most interesting, as it seems like it fluctuates. Sometimes Charlie looks taller, other times she looks shorter. The entry Instagram accounts is referencing that there were sort of official, unofficial Instagram accounts created for some of the characters in the show. These accounts, for example, Angel Dust and Stolas had them, were created as a way of seeing a little more into each character and sort of what they're doing in day-to-day basis. It's a pretty interesting way to help build character lore, but keep this entry in mind for later. Old character designs. So, as I mentioned earlier, some of the character designs have existed far before Hazbin Hotel, such as Angel Dust or Alistair, and they were pulled completely out of Zoophobia to be placed in this new world. If you want to see some of these old character designs, you can just Google them. They're easy to find. Tier 5 starts with fans questioning their sexuality. This is pretty self-explanatory. Some straight guys looked at Angel Dust, or some straight girls looked at Verostica and just went, huh. Twitter bios is likely referencing the bios that were released onto Twitter, detailing each of the main characters a little more. There's nothing too deep about them, mostly just their death year and a little bit of an insight into their personality. A somewhat popular fan theory is that Vaggie is actually a fallen angel. The biggest pieces of evidence come from the pilot, where the angels are seen having an X over their right eye, while Vaggie has an X over her left eye. This is in addition to her having a spear that is similar to the ones used in the Exterminations. Brock Baker was the original voice of Stolas in the pilot of Helluva Boss. After the pilot was released, Brock Baker stepped down from the role. After this, he tweeted that he and Vivian had mutually decided that it would be better for a different voice actor to voice the Goetian Prince. However, at the same time, a few allegations began to boil up around Breaker. I'm not going to comment on this. You can do your own research and draw your own conclusions. In the Arms of an Angel was a video posted way back in 2013, which was Angel's first appearance on YouTube. It was a drawing of Angel holding a knife and a Tommy gun with a wild expression, slowly panning out as Sarah McLachlan's In the Arms of an Angel plays in the background. The Alistair and Dr. Fussier connection is a reference that Alistair's inspiration may have been drawn from Disney's The Princess and the Frog villain, Dr. Fussier. Some similarities include being deal makers from 1920s Louisiana with voodoo ties. Some people look at the song Friends on the Other Side when it comes to drawing parallels between the two. On to Tier 6, the Hazbin Wiki has false information. It's a wiki. Chances are things aren't going to be accurate. If you want something, see if Vivian herself made a comment on it. If not, and you're reading it from the wiki, take it with a grain of salt. Alistair's Lucifer just seems false. Alistair is Alistair, Lucifer is Lucifer. I'm pretty sure Charlie would recognize her own father, unless there's a reason to disguise it. It would be really weird if the King of Hell and one of the most powerful overlords were just coincidentally the same person. Octavia's age. This one's fairly simple, but keep it in your head for later. She's 17. You freaks. Blitz's sisters is the fact that Blitz has sisters, and you can see photos of them hanging around the IMP office. Verosig also says your sister says hi when getting out of rehab, so unless it was just an insult, it could imply that Blitz's sister is actually in rehab. For the first one of Tier 7, the inspiration for Valentino, I'm sorry, I couldn't find anything. Valentino's a pimp, and he was sexually violent towards Angel Dust, but from what I found, there was no direct connection on his inspiration. So if I find something out, I'll keep you guys updated on Twitter, but we're just gonna keep going. The 9 Circles could be a continuity error by Katie Killjoy in the pilot. When referencing Charlie's idea, Katie is quoted as saying, "What in the 9 Circles?" But in Stolas' song in Helluva Boss, he references the 7 rings instead, and since the 7 rings are named after the 7 sins, it's possible that the 9 Circles idea was scrapped and retconned to the 7 rings. Tom Trench is the pyro from Team Fortress 2. As far as I can tell, this is just a meme theory. Nobody really takes it seriously. The only similarities are that Tom and the pyro both wear the gas mask. Rue is an upcoming character in Hazbin Hotel that we know little to nothing about. Vivian herself has said she's excited to dig into Rue, but it's going to be a long time before we even see her, and the only thing we know about her is a single image. Serpentius has a son is simply Serpentius might have a son. When Angel makes his harder daddy joke in the pilot, Serpentius misses the punchline and actually believes Angel's his son. This implies that Serpentius has a son that he doesn't know much about and that he's on the lookout for him. Vivzy Pops gets doxxed. Oh boy. So in June of 2021, Scott Cawthon, or the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, had his screenshots released of donations that were made to certain political parties. Vivian had the comments that she made, and it resulted in some of Scott's fans doxing her as a result. I don't care about your political beliefs, but there's no universe in where doxing is ever a suitable way to get back at someone you don't like. It sounds like common sense, but some people have an issue getting that through their head. Anyway, moving back to the Iceberg, we're now on to Tier 8. The deletion of r/Hazbin Hotel memes is a bit misleading as it wasn't deleted, it's just private. From what I could find, there weren't enough mods to be active in order to keep the place clean, and it was overtaken by bots that were just spamming advertisements. Without the mods having the time to really wrestle with it, they just closed up shop, and a new subreddit was created, and the original was privated. For the Egg Boys backstory, there's a bit of conflict in the fandom of where the Egg Boys originated from. It comes down to 2 theories, which is 1, Serpentius created them in a lab, or 2, they're Serpentius' eggs, meaning that Alistair pretty much just cracked open Serpentius' kids. For Octavia's Instagram controversy, bring back the fact that the characters had Instagram accounts and the fact that she's 17. When the account was active, the account was spammed with a bunch of adult art of the character. As a result, they posted a story saying that people are gross, and the account was privated and abandoned after that. The first entry of the penultimate tier is what Stolas is actually saying. There's a bit of a running joke in Helluva Boss that when Stolas gets excited, he starts to go off on a tangent that's apparently so raunchy that it has to be censored. This entry is simply what he's saying if his lines weren't censored. Blitz and Moxie have autism is a fan theory that Blitz and Moxie have autism. There are a few threads across Reddit detailing why fans think this could or could not be true. Husk's placeholder voice was Rick Sanchez. Sounds like a joke, but it's a fact. When Vivian was creating Husk for the show, she envisioned him having Rick's voice from Rick and Morty. She even had an example of his voice included for auditions for Husk. Unfortunately, it would turn out to hurt results, as people were trying harder to do an impression of Rick instead of trying out to voice a character. And finally, we have reached the final layer of the Hazbin Hotel iceberg. Pkrussl was a guy who hung around VivziePop and could easily be said to be a creep and a thief. According to what I found online, he allegedly would steal art from other artists, pass it off as his own, and use it to sort of move his way up in the industry. He allegedly stalked members of the Hazbin Hotel crew and wrote really weird things about them online, including one time when he said he wanted to, quote, put a baby in her gut when talking about Vivian. bernievidz did an entire video detailing the situation with Pkrussl. I'll link that below because he goes into it way deeper than I could here. And for the last entry on the list, it's the r/Hazbin cursed situation. Back in January of 2021, there was a subreddit by the name of Hazbin Cursed that just posted cursed images from the show, memes, and the like. However, there were a limited amount of mods similar to the situation earlier, which led to trolls eventually taking over the board. I won't go into detail about what was posted on the board, but it was disturbing to say the least. Though a few fans even offered to moderate the board themselves in order to help save it, it was eventually deleted, a new one was made, and now that all exists are recollections of what happened. And on that inspiring note, that is the end of the Hazbin Hotel iceberg. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I know it isn't technically anime, but like I mentioned earlier, I want to sort of branch off into other interests and the like, and this is something that I really enjoy talking about, so hopefully you guys enjoyed listening to it as well. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to check out some of the other videos on this channel, including the anime iceberg that's still in progress. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to keep seeing more of this stuff. If you're interested, I have a Twitter if you guys want to be in contact there and just sort of talk about whatever. I'm pretty active. But other than that, thank you guys again for watching to the end of the video, and I'll see you guys next time.